ever spent hours organizing a space only for it to become messy within a few days? You are not alone. I spent years wondering why my systems weren't working, and today I'm going to be breaking down the biggest organizing mistakes that I made, and more importantly, how I fixed them. If you've been struggling with organizing your home, I hope this will help you get your home organized for the long haul. Let's get into it. Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Shauna if we haven't met yet, and I love sharing easy decluttering and organizing tips. Organizing mistake number 1, I did not know my organizing style. Something that I did not know was that there are multiple ways to organize. I used to look at Pinterest and magazines and see all these organizing tips, and I would try them and wonder why they weren't working for me. They made it seem like there was a one and done solution, and I did not find that that was true for me. By thinking that there was that one and done solution, I felt lazy. All I really wanted to do was just throw items in a bin and put them in a closet or behind doors somewhere so I didn't have to see my things. And that felt really against what the world was telling me to do. I continued to try and do it the right way. That is until I discovered Cass from Clutterbug. I know I've mentioned this a few times before, but if you've never heard of Clutterbug, it's basically 4 different organizing styles called the Ladybug, Butterfly, Bee, or Cricket. Everyone falls into one of these organizing styles, and then Cass will share different ways to organize based on which Clutterbug you are. Well, I'm a ladybug, and ladybugs, surprise, surprise, love to just throw items into a bin and put them out of sight. So actually, this was not me being lazy. It is just how I organize best. As soon as I had that confirmation, I was able to organize my home in a way that worked for me, and things started improving. I'm going to link the Clutterbug quiz in the description below so you can discover your organizing type. Organizing mistake number 2, stacking items. Well, I'm a ladybug. I love to throw things into bins. And then I would stack my bins. I would put them in a closet or in a room that I don't go in often. And it was great, right? Not quite. As a ladybug, I love easy putting things away. But when I stack bins 3 or 4 high, it is not easy to get to the bins that are lower in the stack. So I would just pile things on top of the bins or next to the bins on the floor because it was too much work to put the items away. And I'm sure you can guess, my space would get out of control with clutter really quickly. After a while, years, I decided enough was enough. I started investing in some black wire shelving units that the shelves were easy to move around and adjust as needed, and they were a game changer for me. I could fit 2 bins side by side, and then bins would get their own shelves, so it was really easy to get into my bins and put items away. Yes, it's a bit of a financial investment, but I have saved so much time and stress because I can get into my bins easily. This may seem like a no-brainer, but for me, this was something that it took me years to discover that this was going to be a better option. So if you are struggling because you're not finding an organizing system, it's okay. It's okay. You are not alone. Sometimes these things do take time. Organizing mistake number 3, buying containers before it was time. If you watched my garage declutter video from the fall, you will know that this is a big problem for me. I think a lot of the mess in my garage was just containers that I had on hand that I was not parting with. It is so easy and tempting to go to a store and see really cute containers, or to go on social media and organizers tell you, hey, you need this thing and it's going to change your life because it's going to organize XYZ thing. And it's so easy to just get sucked in and make a purchase without really thinking about it. But more often than not, when you bring them home, they're either not going to work well for you, they're not going to fit your space, and then they're just going to pile up and create more clutter than what you started with. But Shauna, I need containers to organize my things. Absolutely, 100%. You can go out and buy as many containers as your heart desires, but learn from my mistakes and do these things first. First, you have to declutter. We cannot organize clutter. If you just go out and buy organizers without decluttering, you are going to end up with more containers than you actually needed, which is money wasted and time wasted, and then you will end up with containers sitting around unused. You also need to measure your space well. There is nothing worse than buying storage containers that you think are like perfect for your space and then getting home and finding they don't fit. Maybe there's a pipe under the sink cupboard in the way. Maybe your shelves aren't as deep as you thought they were. Or maybe you had more items than you thought you did and the containers are not big enough. Whatever the case may be, do yourself a favor and measure first. And also, I am a really big fan of this one, is use what you have on hand first. I know this is not an aesthetic answer, but which is more important, aesthetics or a tidy, easy to manage home? I now love raiding my recycling bin for items. Glass jars, cardboard boxes, these make really good versatile organizers. Using baskets and bins you already have is a great way to reduce clutter around your home and organize your home all in one step. Try these out first because they're free and they're a really great way to discover, do I really need this container or not? If they work, great. You can go out later and buy the pretty organizer if you want. A lot of the time, I still use the not so pretty organizers just because they do work so well for me. By using these items we already have on hand saves us money and cuts down on stress and clutter in the long run. Organizing mistake number 4, poor systems and routines. So apparently having routines and systems in place is a really big important part of the decluttering journey. Who knew? Not me, not for a really long time. Like I said earlier, knowing my organizing style really helped with this one. The systems that I had in place really weren't working for me. It was too hard to put things away. Like things would just pile up and my home would look messy and cluttered all the time. And routines, I really didn't have many except for like trying to tidy all the time and feeling like a hamster in a wheel. Like I was doing all this work and not making any progress or going anywhere. As soon as I recognized that my systems were broken and I had a lack of routines, I was able to start making improvements. Getting shelving for my bins so my bins were easier to get into rather than having to deal with the piles because I wasn't getting into the bottom bins. Changing out my desk for something that was easier to use and less of a clutter magnet. Putting a bin by our basement stairs so items that needed to go down there could go in the bin, and as soon as the bin was full or once a week, whichever came first, I would take care of those items rather than just have them pile up all over the place. And then implementing routines, daily tidies in the evening before going to bed so we wake up with a tidier home, doing maintenance declutters at regular intervals, and then once or twice a year, going through and doing a whole home declutter. Decluttering is an amazing first step, but implementing systems and routines that work for you is a necessary part of your journey. If you've been decluttering and you still feel stuck, take a look at your systems and routines. I did do a video on routines recently, so I'm going to link that in the card in the upper right-hand corner. A little adjustment here and there can make a really big difference. Organizing mistake number 5, keeping everything just in case. This is such an easy trap to fall into. What if I need this again someday? What if I want to get back into this hobby again? What if I want to start decorating my home with these items again? What if? When we start holding on to everything for a possible what if, we start drowning in clutter. The truth is, most of these items are going to sit untouched for years. And honestly, if you ever decided you needed some of these items again, chances are it's really easy to borrow or repurchase or make do with something else instead. Here are some things that helped me break the what if cycle. I would set limits to my items. If I haven't used this item that I'm keeping for some day in like a year or whatever time frame felt appropriate, it would go, and I could do that without feeling guilt. I had to be really honest with myself. Am I actually going to use this item, or am I just holding on to the idea of using it? And then I had to really trust myself. I used to keep items because I didn't really trust my ability to let go. However, I decided I valued the easier maintenance of my home and empty space so my family and I can actually rest and recharge our batteries from the crazy world outside these four walls. And that became more valuable to me than an unknown future with these items. So if you're really struggling with this, take a deep breath and start letting go. Future you will thank you. I hope that by sharing mistakes that I have made along the way brings you comfort in knowing that you are not alone. And then if you related to any of these, that it inspires you to take action in those baby steps toward organizing your home and fixing whatever mistakes you have been making. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Happy decluttering. Bye.